Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time again for the leaks. This time we're having a look at French Naval, and we have one which is a little bit up in the air. You have the Desaix. Now, the Desaix could be a bunch of different things. First of all, the Desaix could be a destroyer, which, at least for me, I think is probably the closest thing. Basically, the Desaix is the Z5, which is the Paul Jacobi. This was a German destroyer used by the Kriegsmarine, specifically a Type 1934A destroyer, which the French used after the Second World War. They just renamed it to Desaix. So very similar to a few other vehicles that we have in the game, such as the Covert, which is used by France, and also you have the Marceau, which is a Type 1936A class overall too. So the Z5, which is also named the Desaix, would have the 5 127mm, it would have some 37s, it would have some 20mm on it, and also some torpedo tubes, very similar to the standard Type 1934A, nothing too crazy about it. So captured in 45, used by the French in 46, and then renamed in 1954, and then eventually stricken later on too. So that is probably the vehicle that we're looking at. But there is also another vehicle, which is the Desaix, which is a French cruiser from the early 1900s. It was actually laid down in the 19th century in 1899 and commissioned into service in 1904 and was part of the Dupleix class armored cruisers. Now this is where the naming is hilarious. So first of all, you have the Dupleix class cruisers. Now we have the Dupleix in the game, but that one is part of the Suffren class. And if you actually have a look at all of the different Dupleix cruisers, you have the Dupleix, the Desaix, and also the Kleber. These three vehicles are all part of the armored cruiser class from the early 1900s, but also all of those vehicles are already named ships in the game. We already have the Kleber, we have the Dupleix, and obviously the Desaix has been leaked to come in. So you could have three vehicles which have the same name as all of these armored cruisers, and none of them actually get into the game, which is why sometimes naval naming can be kind of all over the place. Now, the Dupleix class armored cruisers weren't exactly crazy useful, because obviously during that time dreadnoughts started popping up, but these guys came out just before the dreadnoughts started coming in. The battle cruiser and battleship ideas of dreadnoughts. It was commissioned in service in 1904, stricken in 1921, so it was used during the First World War, but the actual armament it had is incredibly French, I think is the way to put it. They really like doing stuff slightly differently compared to everybody else. It has 4 twin 6.5-inch guns, which are 164.7mm. It also had 4 single 100mm guns, 10 single 47mm, 4 single 37mm, and also some torpedo tubes on it as well. The belt armor also got up to 100mm, which is pretty decent, and overall did have quite a distinguished service history. But just like a lot of these cruisers which were designed in the Victorian era, usually they kind of fell out of favor, especially since a bunch of vehicles were evolved during the 1900s to the 1910s, and then of course evolved even further because of the First World War. So stuff like the Desaix and all of its sisters didn't really mesh very well with the new setup. So hopefully we see this cruiser, but let's be quite honest, I think it's more likely we just get the Z5, which is a boring German destroyer. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.